Good afternoon. My name is Annette Ford, and this is for Dr. Hanson's class. I was asked to assess Pedro in his treatment plan, and initially I would just question Pedro as he came in about has he had any life-threatening signs or symptoms that would need immediate treatment. I would look at his biomedical conditions. I know that he has had time to be referred to the session, but I would also want to know if he had any biomedical conditions or complications, before he came into treatment. I would want to know his emotional state. I know that he does have PTSD. And I would want to know, did he feel that this was life-threatening? I would really want to know, is he acceptable to treatment? Is he willing to allow the program to work for him? Because if he's resistant just because the court has sent him, he's really not ready, and I need to make sure that he is ready for treatment. And I would want to know if he was ready, because I would be concerned about his relapse. So that would be his immediate need profile. We did talk about, the question was asked, what are the cross-cultural considerations that need to be addressed in Pedro's case? And what needs to be addressed is his socio-cultural beliefs. They will really influence his behaviors towards substance use and abuse. And this may be a male thing. I know that there were a lot of blue-collar workers in my neighborhood growing up, and they would find it acceptable to go out and have a drink in the evening, before going home to socialize. And so that may be something that's cultural, that Pedro believes in, having a drink with his friends and socializing after work. Culture does play a major role in families. The expectation of Pedro is that, he's looked up to. And so does that mean that, he's expected to drink and have a good time at parties? In some cultural communities, the role of alcohol has contributed to traditional native practices. Mexican Americans who moved to the United States assumed the drinking behaviors of the dominant society, and as a result, they increase their alcohol use. Alcohol may not be as prevalent in Mexico. In the case of Pedro, he may feel alienated from his family and friends because they cannot relate to his PTSD, and that's his co-occurring disorder. And they probably can't relate to his experience of war. I would consider placing Pedro in a traditional program with other Hispanic men so that he will have an opportunity to attend treatment with men from his same ethnicity. And also, I would try to find like-minded veterans who have the same experience. As a clinician, I would seek to uncover social cultural issues that will encourage Pedro to accept and retain and become successful in his treatment. Now, family involvement will play a major role and is very important in the Hispanic community, because Hispanic families are extremely close, especially the ones that are here in the U.S., because their families are so small. The immediate family and external family, they are significant and should be involved in the intervention process, because alcohol and drug use can erode important family and social ties, especially in Pedro's case. He's an older child. His siblings look up to him. And of course, they're going to lose respect for him if they see that he has a problem that he cannot control. So a treatment program should be designed to have Pedro's family input and to allow them to discuss their concerns. A treatment plan for Pedro. Pedro has a history of abusing alcohol along with a history of PTSD. A treatment plan would initially focus on his alcohol use, and the plan would have him develop skills that would promote a drug-free and sober life. Within 7 days of Pedro attending the treatment, Pedro should have the ability to identify at least 3 triggers and share with the group how they have affected his life. Of course, he will talk about how he has gotten the DUI and how that has affected his life. And there would be other group members that would contribute to what Pedro's experience has been. Within 14 days of treatment, Pedro will write and present to the group the consequences that he experienced in the last 90 days. Now, everyone that is attending the group will not have the same experience that Pedro had. If you look at Pedro getting a DUI, everyone in the group has not gotten a DUI. Some people just want to attend because they know that they have a problem. They have admitted it. And so his experience of explaining what are the consequences for his drug use and those things will help other people. Within 30 days of the treatment, Pedro will share about the stages of his relapse, if he's relapsed, and how he was able to identify those stages of his last relapse. So he would talk about his triggers, what caused it. It could be 30 days, it was too early for him to attend family functions. Maybe there are other family members who are encouraging him to drink. As a counselor, I would facilitate classes and encourage Pedro to discuss the challenges that he's experiencing with his PTSD. There will be other people in the group that have co-occurring disorders. And so those people will be able to help Pedro with his PTSD and give him some referrals and let him know what is useful for him. Now, as a clinician, in the individual session, I would deal with or treat Pedro's PTSD. And some of the things that I've read about PTSD is that, you know, the brain has the capability of really repairing itself. So we would do exercises that would help Pedro in his coping skills. I would offer individual counseling with Pedro and request Pedro to attend group meetings once a week to learn and discuss the early warning signs of relapse. Initially, I would suggest individual sessions per week and identify his fears. What fears does he have? Apparently, there are some. There will be triggers that will make some days good days, some days bad days, but learning how to cope with those and realizing that, you know, everybody has things that they fear. They have experiences, you know, smells that bring up things that they remember that were unpleasant. But learning how to cope with those will be important. Pedro will develop personal recovery goals, describing all recovery enhancing activities he can participate in. As a clinician, I would find things that worked for Pedro in helping him activities that would work for him, that would help him in his recovery. So that is, how I would initially deal with Pedro, and coming up with the treatment plan and helping him not relapse. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you.